Howdy doody, folks. Good morning to you all, wherever you might be in the world. Goodness me, the year is going really quickly, isn't it? Here we are, we're into November, almost midway, and the end of 2024 is coming to a close very soon. And we'll be going into 2025. It's just happening way too quickly. I would imagine it's probably the same thoughts that you're having. Anyway, today I'm going to try and be as brief as possible, but I do have some interesting content because, I feel I've got some interesting content, some interesting information I hope that I can share with you, especially if you're looking for a teacher, or especially if you're the kind of person that goes out and seeks a lot of readings from different people at different times, because as you're aware, if you are a returning visitor, you will be aware that I go and do volunteer readings just to keep my toe in the water, shall we say. Well, I'm not doing services. I'm not actually charging for readings at the moment. So I go along and I keep my skills fresh, if you like, by visiting a tarot and tea group. And you've got a wide range of people that attend this. You've got people with different levels of expertise, shall you say. There's the novices, you've got people that are more experienced, and all of this kind of thing that happens. Anyway, something happened this week that was a reminder to me that this is really important information to share with people. So without further ado, I shall crack on and talk about it in the Chitter Chatter. We talked last week about striving for personal excellence and making that a personal goal wherever we are across our life path and our journey. And so for this week, I'm going to give you some information on why I believe that it's important that we who work in the metaphysical industry, that we continue this ongoing striving for excellence and to be the best at anything that we put our hand to. And this is because I learned many years ago that we can work with healing energy and we can try and heal ourselves and all the rest of it, but we are also on a human journey. Just because we can access energy doesn't mean that we're suddenly of this status beyond healing and above other people and all the rest of it. We still are human, we still make mistakes, and so therefore I feel that it's really important that we actually acknowledge our humanity within our metaphysical work, because otherwise there is a risk of transferring and projecting our beliefs even when we think we're not doing it. And this is what happened this week. So I'll get into it. I went to the group, and I don't have any concerns that the people that I'm referring to will hear this video or watch this video and potentially be offended. And if they did, I would like to think that they would actually approach me directly and ask me for any clarification that they feel needs to be done, because I'm quite transparent about this. I didn't have an opportunity really to speak to it on the night as far as clarifying it for them, because you've got to be sensitive to the people in your surroundings, and you'll understand why in a minute that I didn't, because that's my social work background as well, if not my guidance. It is when people become emotional and reactive, they're actually in their brain stem. They're not actually processing the information, and they're not being logical and rational in their responses. And what I had happen was, at the beginning of the night, I'll explain it to you, the group leader mentioned that she had her teacher attending, and she wasn't going to be showing us or introducing the person as her teacher or mentor, because she didn't want people to feel intimidated, because this woman apparently is so brilliant, is what I sort of got from it. That, people can become overawed when they come into contact with people that they think have got better gifts than what they have, especially if they're novices. So I respect and appreciate the fact that she kept some anonymity there, if I can pronounce the word. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, of course, I didn't know on a conscious level. I hadn't been introduced to the teacher. But what happened was, a lady came and sat down for a reading with me. And it was one of those times where you pull out the cards. And the way I work, if people aren't aware of it, is I validate the connection first. And I usually have jumping cards, and they will validate that my connections are in and that I am giving information from the guides, and then I will go into predictions and that. Well, the interesting thing was, no cards would jump. They just wouldn't jump. And so I thought, I'm just about shuffling the the bits off the king, shall we say, on the cards. I was shuffling and shuffling. Anyway, I decided to start pulling cards and laying them out as a spread. Now, the other thing that I do too when I'm reading for people is I say, don't feed me too much information. If I need clarification, I'll ask you, but please restrict your answers to a yes or no so that I can sort of challenge myself, if you like, to get accurate information. Anyway, where I'm going with this is she was non-receptive to every single card I pulled over, and I thought, this is very unusual. I've just done a reading on somebody else that was accurate, and now all of a sudden either my connection is haywire or I'm not interpreting the cards correctly. There's something going on here. But she said no to everything. Nothing was right. And then I stopped pulling cards and I said to her, so what you're saying is absolutely nothing here resonates. And she said, yes. She said, well, it doesn't resonate for me, but I can see where it's accurate. It's in regard to my husband. Now, my normal reaction in that situation would be, well, don't you think that you share energy with your husband? You know, you actually have an emotional investment in each other, and your husband is not here. And I don't read for people that are not present. My reading is for you. But anyway, she couldn't see how it would relate to her particular instance. But anyway, so at that point I realised I was actually on track with the reading, although her mouth was saying something different. So I pulled another card and I turned it over and I went, oh, straight away I knew. I said, you're the teacher. She said, yes, I am. And I thought, okay. Well, that being the case, this woman's non-receptive to anything that I'm going to give to her because she has put herself on a pedestal above anything because she doesn't know anything about me, okay? I haven't met her before, and she thinks clearly through her responses that I was a novice. And anyway, because I use cards, a lot of people who are mediums can be very dismissive of card readers if they're not familiar with the process. So anyway, where I'm going with this is I've pushed the cards to her and I just laughed and I said, well, maybe you should be doing the reading on me, right? And this is where it gets to be a little bit of an issue. This is where it started to go foul, shall we say, because she was quite happy to do that, just so you know, to show her prowess to me. But at the same time, our approaches were different. And part of this is when we talk about the reason I've put the heal the healer on here and transfer and projection is because when we have a fixed belief about something, we can associate and link that with self-righteousness, and we think our way is the only way. And then, so if somebody does something different, then they're wrong, and that becomes a transfer and projection. And it can actually lead to some really big conflict, as it did the other night, but it didn't get as big as it could be because I actually withdrew from it, if you know what I mean. I withdrew my, I'll just go on with the story. So anyway, her belief is that when spirit presents, which she did start channeling messages to me, but she didn't validate. Now, for me, I'll stick with the story. Okay, so she starts giving me these random messages, which could be right, they might not be. We've all had readings like that where they go, and can you take that? And you go, well, yes, I kind of can, but I'm not really sure. You know, so that didn't make her particularly happy. And then I said, are you able to give me more information? Because I thought, well, she wants validation here. She wants me to, you know, fair enough. She wants me to validate to her that she's on track with her own guidance. And I just said, can you give me some more information, please? Like, I'm not sure which spirit you're communicating with. I thought it could be one of a couple. So I'm sitting there as she's talking, trying to think, okay, which spirit is this? Now, because obviously we've all got a few people that have passed over. And then she was actually offended by that because her belief is that when spirit presents, we don't try and identify them, we just accept the message. Okay, that's definitely not something I agree with. And she became cross at me. She said to me, don't you think spirit gets sick to death of having to identify themselves? You know, every time they try and communicate with somebody, they have to say who they are. She said, that's not how I work. That's not how I channel. Well, okay, all right, fair enough. Takes different strokes, different folks. But from where I sit, I have a whole different viewpoint. And this is because if I was meeting somebody for the first time in the flesh, I would be saying hello, holding up my hand, g'day, greetings, hi, I'm Anna, and yes, isn't it a beautiful day, or whatever, Now, of course, if I've met them a number of times, I'm not going to need to identify and say to them each time I present that, my name again, hello, just in case you forgot, here I am, and my name is. But with this particular lady, she had not met my spirit companions, shall we say, before. So to me, it makes sense that she actually validates, that she'd be able to give me some very clear identification of which spirit she's communicating with. And this is because I'm very much into the concepts of empowerment, and that spirit will present to give empowering messages to help a person feel more comfortable, more confident, and more able to cope with the challenges of life, the physical existence. Now, the other thing too is because I've been doing this stuff for so many years now, I'm very open to receiving communication from my guides. But what I've learned is that the spirit that hasn't been to the light will just pop in and see a medium as well. And it's a bit like asking the person over the fence, what do you think about X, Y, and Z? It's not necessarily a guided message. You're just running around asking people for their opinions on what you're doing. So many years ago, I learned the hard way that I was listening to other people's guidance or their messages that were not guided messages for me. They were just basically people's opinions. And I was making a few regrettable decisions, shall we say. And in the end, out of pure frustration, I actually have made it very clear to my guides that if a person cannot validate to me that they are speaking with my guides, or obviously spirit, then any messages they give to me, I'm just going to discard. I'm not going to listen to them, because I'm not interested in hearing everybody else's opinion or thoughts about what I should or shouldn't be doing. I want the guided information. I want the gold stuff, So anyway, yes, my guides and angels have been accommodating that need for me for many years, and I consider a really good reader can validate. Okay, in fact, I think most of them can. Anybody that I've taught has learned to validate very quickly. But anyway, the other thing that I want to speak to about this is when it comes to clashes as well. Obviously, I think what you're saying here, if you actually pulled it apart, was that the woman who was a teacher actually is a little bit egotistical, but I don't think she realises that there is ego attached to some of her behaviours. But anyway, what I also observed is there is this desire when we turn around and tell other people that they have to do it our way or whatever, which she put me down basically saying the inference was there was something wrong with me because I want to have the messages validated. That's her opinion. She's entitled to it. It's a free world. It doesn't make her better than me, though, and it doesn't make me better than her. What I also believe, though, is that we as teachers will draw negative karma to us. If we are fostering dependence from our students upon us, if we are insisting that they do things our way, then we're going to create karma for ourselves and not necessarily the type we want. So what else can I say to this? Just one of the other things that got her really upset was that I had made a comment which she probably saw to be dismissive. I was able to confirm. She gave me a message and I thought, oh, that's lovely, because with me on my pathway, I understand that if there was conflict or misunderstanding before a soul parted and went to the other side, before they transitioned, that once they're on the other side, they actually see the whole picture. And if there was ill will or whatever, there is a forgiveness that's associated. And basically the two spirits that presented to me, one was one that I feel bad about, that I wasn't able to be there for her when she passed over. But the reality is I wasn't able to be. So that's on me. You know what I mean? I know that I don't need to, and I've always known that I don't need to, and that she understood. I'd like to think she understood on a conscious level, but I can't be sure. But certainly as a spirit, she understands. So it was nice of her to pop in and make that visit, because I know that's exactly what she's reaffirming to me, is that, let it go, move on. She knows, and she forgives me. Now, the other one, that was a case of, without going into too much detail, he cut me off, and that was because of loyalty. I was having a conflict with, I don't want to go too far into it, with a family member. Oh, well, obviously it's one of my parents, and it was rather a deep one. And this was my uncle, and when he found out about it, he cut me off and he wouldn't speak to me anymore. It didn't matter whether I was right or wrong. For him, loyalty was about he had to stick with his sibling, whether he was right or wrong. Now, I understood that at the time. I was disappointed and saddened that he chose to cut me off, because I felt it was a lost opportunity for us to grow and connect on the physical plane. But I respected his decision to do what he did. And I knew that as a spirit, when he transitioned, that he would see the big picture and potentially have regret. So that was also confirmed to me. But moving on, because this is getting long. So if you haven't summarized what it is that I'm trying to share with you and the learning that I'm trying to pass to you, this is about understanding even the best intentioned teachers and mediums, we can make mistakes. The best person for you to listen to is actually your own inner guidance. But you have to be able to discern what is basically, you may as well say, the voices in your head and the voices of guidance, because there is always that mind chatter that's going to tell you what's right and true. Now, a true, valid, guided message actually comes through the heart chakra. So you don't feel it in your stomach, you feel it in the yellow chakra and the heart chakra. That's where you know, and you get the energy once you become energy aware, where you can feel it. And the reason why, even if I would say this, even if you got a reading from me, if you felt that something was wrong, this is because at the end of the day, even if we're open to our gifts, we're ultimately having a three-way conversation with a person. That would be me, you, and, well, in fact, probably four people. There's my guide and your guide. Now, the guides are going to communicate telepathically with each other. When they communicate with me, they're showing me symbolism, and I have to interpret the symbolism and any physiological sensations. So once you're doing interpretations, you're opening up a little bit to misinterpretation, and this is what this striving for personal excellence is about. And this is why I say to you, if you're going to get readings, if you're going to get metaphysical teachers and all the rest of it, trust your own gut instinct. And if a teacher is telling you that you need them or you must do things their way, or that their way is the only way, that's a really big question mark over them. And certainly for me, I would probably discount a lot of what they say, because they're at the very best unaware or lacking in self-awareness. And the interesting thing is, when I reflect back on the other night, with this lady who was a teacher, because she negged everything I pulled over, there is this wonderful hypocrisy that comes with people which say, be open to receive. You've got to be open to receive. And then you can get somebody sitting opposite you that will diss everything that you say, which is what this lady did. Where I'm going with this is, it was not only a missed opportunity to open up to her own awareness and that kind of stuff, but I actually now know that the rest of the cards were right in the spread as well. And the way I work is that my guides will give me information on any challenges that are coming up. And I said to her, which of course, look, she did confirm at the end of it, as I said, that it didn't relate to her. It was all about her husband, apparently. And I had said that in the cards there was going to be a legal issue, a court matter, and a settlement. This is what came through in the cards for me. But I was also giving her a warning that based on the energy at the time I was doing the reading, it didn't look like the settlement, financial settlement, would be one that they had been hoping for, but there would still be one. So basically translating that, it means that they're going to get a payout. They'd like to have X, but they're going to end up with Y, which isn't quite as good, but it's better than a kick up the backside. You know what I mean? They'll get something out of it. But either way, I've just digressed a little bit. Anyway, the thing is, with the messages that I bring through, it's always a case of if what you see in the cards as a prediction is unsatisfactory, there's usually something that you can do energetically or actively to actually increase the opportunity for a better result. And I have done it in the past where it's when I've explored what's going on in the future as a prediction. It's okay, you're going to the courts, you need to get your ducks in a row. Remind the person they've got to do their paperwork, they've got to have X and Y together, and then they can be doing affirmations or whatever. You know what I mean? That's how I tend to work. But anyway, such is life. I hope there's been something there that helps you out. I'm going to now crack on with the channel update. So I'm busily working on the Crystal Magic playlist at the moment, and in fact I'm finding it really interesting in so many ways because, of course, as I get the content together for you, I sort of, as part of that, trying to be fair and expanded, recognize that, you know, other people might hold different opinions about the metaphysical properties of crystals based on their own experiences. And this is why I invite you to put your information up or any experiences that you've had. So that invitation is there right from the get-go. But the other thing is, because I like to be credible when it's giving you buying tips, I'm actually doing research at the same time I'm putting these videos together about the crystals, about caring for them, about the identifying characteristics of a crystal to assist you within the buying process. And then at the same time, I've now found I'm looking back into retailing again. I probably shouldn't, but I've found a few websites, and I'm just doing price comparisons and all the rest of it. Not just prices, but certainly quality. But look, either way, I'm actually having a lot of fun with it, and I hope that you're going to enjoy the content. So this week, you will have seen the Amazonite video go up. Now, that was actually rather fun for me. Amazonite is one of my most favourite crystals. What can I say really about that? Just that when it comes to buying, obviously you've got different shades of Amazonite. One little tidbit that I'll give with you that I didn't know until I was doing my research is this business where you see online everywhere that Amazonite is found in the Amazon. I have no idea where that came from because apparently that's an absolute untruth. It's not found in the Amazon region at all. And even the geologists don't know where the name Amazonite came from with it. But yeah, Amazon is not an area where this crystal is found. But having said that, it's an amazing crystal that I love, and I'm still looking for my palm stone. But that's a story for another day. Next week, you're going to see the video for emerald go up. Now, as far as emeralds go, everybody loves emeralds, especially the ones that we see on this thumbnail here. This, gosh, what do they call it? I don't know, the big transparent one. We all love that kind of emerald. Nobody can really afford them, I might add. They are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And what I was interested to find is that we now have a lot of lab-grown emeralds on the market. And apparently, that from a chemical composition, they've got no difference to the naturally formed emeralds. And so they command massive prices as well. But when you look at the little tumbles behind this big one here, you get a lot of those on the market, and they're not nearly as expensive, and they still carry the metaphysical attributes anyway. But moving on, yes, we've got emerald being loaded next week. So when it comes to creating the videos and the content for the Crystal Magic, there's no rhyme nor reason. I'm just doing videos as I feel drawn to. You know, or maybe it's I see a photo and I think, you know what, actually I'll do that. And also my favourite ones. Now, I can understand if you're looking at this going, what is that? Is that kangaroo poo or something like that? No, it's not. It's Tibetan tektite, which another interesting little fact that I found when doing the research on this is actually most Tibetan tektite is not from Tibet. In fact, actually, there is debate about whether or not it's even from Tibet, but most of this form, which is called Tibetan tektite, is from Australasia. So we have a lot of it here in Australia. But when it comes to the healing properties, this is one of my favourite crystals because it is amazing as far as boundary protection goes. And when I used to work in human services with a lot of people that had multiple problems, you know, really down on their luck, because I've always struggled a little bit with boundaries, actually, and taking on board other people's emotional space, which, this is that comment where people go, I'm an empath, I can't help it, I feel other people's pain. Well, we can help it. And that's about self-mastery. And as I say, I'll put my hand up and say, I'm one of those ones that struggled with it. I hope you can't hear the dog running around. But what I found was I used to wear Tektite every day. Once I found it, I used to wear it every morning when I went to work as part of ensuring that I was able to maintain function in the workplace and not take on board all these other energies. I think I forgot. Did I mention that I'm putting up the Tektite video next week as well? So I'm scheduling 2 videos a week at the moment on the crystal playlist, because let's be real, there is hundreds and hundreds of different type crystals that we can use. And then, sometimes if you look at the agates, I'm actually putting off doing the agate videos because there's so many different ones. You've got, moss agate and the jaspers, there's a lot of them too. So you'd need more than one video to actually look at them. Anyway, back to this. I thought as part of making sure that people understood how to use the crystals, especially if they're looking at emotional or physical illness, that I would put up the video here of the metaphysical meets physical, interpreting the messages of your body is that. So anyway, that video has gone up already. Hopefully you've seen it. If not, I'll put a link in the description of this video. The dog is going to town. The dog is going to town. The dog, by the way, is called Toby as I look at him running across the floorboards. Anyway, moving on. I'm keeping this slide in because after going to this night the other evening, I connected with a lady called Priya. Priya was asking about her next stage. She's done Reiki 1 already at some point in time. I didn't have enough time to discuss this with her, but she said that she's ready to move on. She wants to step into her gifts more and expand them. And I gave her a couple of suggestions, and one of them actually is if she's done Reiki 1, Reiki 2, I consider to be the next step, because I know that with myself, that when it came to developing my own gifts, it really was a case of Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki 3. I think round about Reiki 2 was when I started to get introduced to things like angels and also using crystals for healing purposes as well. But definitely, Reiki 2 at least. If you haven't done Reiki 1, self-development, this is a really big part of it. So anyway, Priya, for you, mate, I'll get cracking on those manuals. So thank you for being patient. Before I close out, just a reminder of the playlist that we've got on the channel now. And also a reminder, please, if there's anything that you want me to expand on, let me know. I'll check it out. I'll see what I can find for you, okay? And that can include whether or not you have a physical ailment and what might be the recommended use of colour or crystals to treat an injury. And with that, I just put this disclaimer on as well that, even though we recommend colour and crystals, you would not disengage from your practitioners, your health practitioners. These are just things that you can use in conjunction with professional advice. What else? If you have a favourite crystal, you could ask me to do a video on that one. Anyway, okay, moving along, I will just say, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. And I will close for the week saying thank you very much for being part of my journey. Have a wonderful day, blessed week, stay safe, take care. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now. And I will close for the week saying thank you very much for being part of my journey. Have a wonderful day, blessed week, stay safe, take care. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.